Hey there, I'm Pico, and I think that by the end of this video, you are going to want to give Wagtail a try. So Wagtail is a content management system built on top of Django. It is trusted by so many organizations like Mozilla, Google, NASA, NHS, and many, many more. Recently, I gave it a try to build a blog website, and you guys, it saved me so much time. And just like my creative writing teacher used to say, it's better to show than tell. So let's start coding. We'll code the same project once in Django and once in Wagtail, and we'll compare and see how many lines of code it took to create it with Django and how many lines it took to create it with Wagtail. Let's get started. All right, so how about we kick this off by creating two directories to hold our two projects. So the first one would be our Django only project. And how about we create blog websites, since blogs typically require a CMS. So let's call this Django blog. And now the second one, let's call it Wagtail blog. Okie dokie, now let's open them both in Visual Studio Code. Okay, now the second one. All right, let's put them side by side. All right, so since we are working with Python, we are gonna need to create virtual environments in both our projects. So let's fire up terminal in both projects. And let's begin by creating the virtual environment. So py-m venv, and let's call it venv, and hit enter. All right, now the second one, py-m venv, and we also want to call it venv. Let's hit enter, and now let's activate it in the first one. Venv scripts activate, hit enter. All right, it's active. Let's do the same in the second one. Venv scripts activate. Right, cool, Venv is active in both projects, which means we can now install Django over here and Wagtail over here. So let's begin by installing Django. So pip install Django, and we want to hit enter. Right, Avast is suspicious as usual, but it's just Django. Don't worry, Avast. And over here, let's try to also install Wagtail simultaneously. So pip install Wagtail, and you want to hit enter. Right, and now I guess we're gonna have to wait a bit. While we wait, I would like to ask you to subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Thank you very much. So Wagtail provides a start command similar to Django admin start project. So actually, let's run the start command in the Wagtail version. Just copying from the docs. So over here, Wagtail start, let's call it my blog actually, and hit enter. And for the Django version, we wanna run Django admin start project. So Django admin start project, and we wanna call it my blog, right? Yay, let's hit enter. Oh, calm down, Avast. So both Django and Wagtail went ahead and created the scaffolding for our project. So let's first look at the Django project. So Django created these files for us. Now let's see what Wagtail did. So Wagtail created more directories and files. So as you can see, it comes with a Docker file and a Docker ignore file, and also this home directory. What is it? What do you think? Well, it's a Django app that Wagtail creates for you out of the box. Let's go to settings. In Wagtail, settings as a module, it contains base.py, dev.py, and production.py. And that makes it very easy to switch between dev mode and production mode. Base.py, that's where you have your actual Django settings. All right, let's scroll down to installed apps, and here is home. Let's compare the installed apps section in a Wagtail project and a plain Django project. So let's go to settings.py, and as you can see, there are many more installed apps in Wagtail. All right, so because I don't want to bore you, we're not going to go through them one by one. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to go back to coding. So the next thing we need to do for our Wagtail project is cd into our my blog directory. So cd my blog, and we're actually going to need to cd into my blog in the Django only project as well, so let's do that. And next up, for the Wagtail projects, we are going to have to install the dependencies that are present in requirements.txt, so let's do that. Pip install our requirements.txt. All right, awesome possum. Now for both projects, we want to create the blog app. All right, so let's put them side by side again. The command for starting an app in a Wagtail project is the same as the one you use for a Django project. So first, let's start an app in our Django blog project. So py manage.py start app, and let's call our app blog, right? And now, oops, I meant to, yes, okay. All right, so now, as you can see, our blog app was created for us, yay. Okay, let's do the same in our Wagtail project. So py manage.py start app, and we want to call it blog. Let's check on our blog apps in the Django only project and in our Wagtail project. So actually they look identical. All right, now as usual, we need to add them to installed apps in settings.py. So let's add blog over here and do the same thing for the Wagtail project. So let's go to the setting module and go to base.py, and in installed apps, let's add blog, like so. All right, so now before we do anything else, let's try to run server for both projects and see what happens. So let's begin with our regular Django project. So py manage.py run server. Oh, it's telling us that we have unapplied migrations and we need to run migrations. So let's do that. So py manage.py migrate. Excellent. All right, and now py manage.py run server. Okay, now our server is running at port 8000. Let's follow link. Okay, there it is. Okay, now for our Wagtail project, let's do the same thing. Let's try to also run server. So py manage.py run server. Oh, actually, two things. We don't want to run it on the same port as the Django project. We want to specify another port. We also need to run migration because we have 171 unapplied migrations. How many did Django say we had? In Django's case, we had 18. So for Django, only 18 unapplied migrations. But for Wagtail, 171. That's a lot. All right, either way, let's run the migrations. So py manage.py migrate. Enter. That's a lot of migrations. It goes on and on and on, and it's done. So let's run server. So py manage.py run server, and this time let's specify port, let's say 8001, and yeah, let's hit enter. Okay, so now it should be active on port 8001. Let's follow link. Oh, check it out. Here's Wagtail. Woohoo. So what we're actually looking at here is the welcome page inside the home project. Here it is. So let's see if we can change how it looks. Let's try to comment out this part, which I think is the egg. And let's refresh. Yeah, the egg is gone. It was kind of cute though. All right, so how about we start working on our projects. I vote we start with Django. I would love to know what you think we should start with, but I can't hear you. All right, let's define our models very quickly. So first we're gonna need a category model, right? We said we want categories, and our category model is gonna inherit from models.model, and it needs only one field. It's the name field. So let's set it to models.short field and set the max length to 225. All right, now let's quickly define, oh, what am I doing? Let's quickly define string method self dot name. Now let's define class blog post, and it will also inherit from models.model. All right, it's gonna need a title, so let's add it to models.short field, and let's also set max length to 225. All right, and it's gonna need a body. Let's set it to models.text field, and it's also gonna need to have a one-to-many relationship with the category models. So let's add the field category and set it to models dot foreign key category, and then related name, let's set it to posts, and then finally on delete models dot cascade. Wait a minute, why is this capital? This is not supposed to be capital. Now let's define the string method. So def string self, and we want it to return self.title. All right, now for the exciting part. Let's define models in our Wagtail app. Oh, but before we do that, actually, let's make migrations and migrate over here in our Django only app. So py-manage.py make migrations, and then py-manage.py migrate. Okie dokie. All right, let's go back to our Wagtail project, and we want to go to our blog app, of course, and to models.py. One of the coolest things about Wagtail is the Wagtail page model that you can subclass and do amazing things with super quickly. Okay, to use it, we gotta import it. So I'm just gonna copy the import statement from the docs and just paste it. So yeah, let's go ahead and define the blog post model. Like we said, we wanna subclass the page model, and Wagtail already includes a page title by default for the page model, so we're not gonna need to define a blog title field. We're just gonna add in a body field, and we're going to set it to one of my favorite things about Wagtail, which is the rich text field. Let's see if we can import it. Yes, here's the import statement. Let's just copy it and paste it. Okay, so body, we want to set it to rich text field. Okay, and we want to define the category, of course. So class category, and it also inherits from page. And since we've decided that all we need for the category is the category name or category title, so we're not going to add anything else in terms of fields for now. We're almost done. But in order to be able to see the body field in our CMS, then we want to tell Wagtail that we want to use it. Do you know what? Before we do that, how about we actually visit the Wagtail CMS and see what it has in store for us? So let's make migrations. And then migrate. All right, and now in order to be able to sign in the Wagtail CMS, we need to create a superuser. So py-manage.py create superuser, just like we do with Django projects in order to access the admin, you know. Okay, So leave blank for Pico. Yes, leave the email address blank. Let's add a simple password, add it again. And I'll hit Y to bypass password validation and create the user anyways. Okay, now let's run servers again. So py-manage.py run server. All right, let's follow link. Okay, now let's go to /admin. Check it out. Here's our Wagtail backend login page. Okay, so our username is Pico. Let's add it in and the password, hit enter. All right, check it out. Look what we have here. So we have one page created for us, and it is the home page, right? And as you might have noticed, there is a home app, and inside it there's models.py, and here's the definition of the home page that you can totally mess with and alter and do whatever you want with. Now, let's see what happens if we click on this plus sign thing. Okay, so look, here's our blog post page, our category and home page. Let's see what happens if we try to add a category. So we can just give it a title. So let's say we want the category to be travel. All right, let's publish it. Oh, have you noticed that you can save as draft, publish, or submit for moderator approval? Pretty neat, right? Wagtail actually has so many cool things, but since we don't want this video to be very long, let's stick with making a simple blog. All right, so now we supposedly created a travel page, right? Okay, yeah, look. Now we have 2 pages here with most recent edit being travel and just edited just now. Okie dokie. Okay, let's see what would happen if we go to travel and we try to add a child page within it, right? Since we've opened the CMS, I have been going on and on about child pages, right? And I haven't explained to you that in Wagtail, the page model makes it so that pages can be parents or children of other pages. And by default, any type of page that you create in your models.py can be a parent or child of any other page. However, you can specify which pages get to be parents of which pages and which pages get to be children of which pages and so on. So you have full control over that. So now for our travel page, which is a category, we can add a child page within it, which will essentially belong to this category. But before we do that, let's add the body field to our blog post. Let's make it show up in our CMS actually. So in order to do that, let's revisit the docs. And what we are looking for is content panels. So I'm just going to copy this part of the code and paste it within my blog post model. All right. Okay. And now we need to import the field panel. Okay. All right. And let's add field panel body. Okay, I think that should do it. All right. Let's see. Yay, it's there. All right, so now let's try to add a blog post. Let's make the title Siberia. I've never been, but I'd like to visit one day. Let's make the body say, it's very cold. And check it out, guys. We have rich text, we have headings, we can embed videos, we can add links. The sky's the limit. Well, rich text is the limit. Okay, let's see what happens if we try to publish. Yay, we published it. So now in the category travel, we have a blog post with the title Siberia and the body says it's very cold. All right, we haven't created templates yet. So if we click on live, we get an error that says template does not exist. All right, so let's go back to our project. And in our blog directory, there is no templates. So let's create one. New folder, templates. Okay, and inside it, we want to create a new directory with the name of our app, which is blog. And then another very cool thing that Wagtail does for us is if you name your templates in the same name as your models, then it associates the template with the model by default. So for example, inside template / blog, we add blog underscore post.html. And then we want to extend the base.html file that was created for us, and that was created for us by Wagtail in the my blog directory, in the project directory. So let's do that. So extends base.html. All right, so before we write any more code, let's restore server and see what happens. Okay, let's refresh. Ta-da! We get a white empty page, which means I think the template we've created was found by Wagtail and it was associated by our page model. And have you noticed that our views.py is empty? We didn't have to create any views. Anyhow, let's go back to our blog post.html and write some code. Let's first take a look at the base.html, sorry, that we have extended. All right, so it extends static and Wagtail core tags and the Wagtail user bar. Actually, if you take a look at the page, the blog page, you see this little button, right? If you're signed in, if you're logged in to the backend, you get this and you can super easily edit your posts or whatever, which is insanely handy and super awesome. All right, so what else do we have here at the base.html? Obviously, we have the HTML boilerplate. And we have blocks defined for us, like block title, block content, extra CSS, and so on. Okay, so since we just want to do the basics, let's just extend block content. All right. And inside it, let's create a div. And then maybe give it the class container. And then maybe inside it, we want to show the title of the blog post, right? So let's add an h1 element, and I'm gonna use curly brackets here, and then just type in page.title. And when we refresh, we should see the title of our blog. So let's do it. Oh, yay, Siberia. Nice. All right, next up, we would like to show our body, right? Our blog post body. So let's create another div element. And maybe we can give it the class body. I still haven't decided if we're gonna be adding CSS or not later, but it's always good to prepare just in case. Okay, so you wanna use curly brackets again. And to get hold of the body, we want to add page.body. And since our body is rich text, we're going to need to add the rich text flag, right? Let me check the docs real quick. Rich text, Wagtail, templates. Yes, yes, this is it. Yes. And I think we also need to add load wagtail tags for it to actually work. So let's do that and refresh. Yay, there it is. Yes, we did it. So we have a blog post showing, and look at the URL, look at the slug here. We have travel/Siberia. So it already like sorts so much for you out, including like the URL patterns and everything. And all we've had to do so far is just create teeny weeny models, right? And just create the templates directory. And within it, we just created our template, right? The blog post template. Now we can go ahead and create the category template. So category.html. All right. And just like we've done with our blog post .html, actually, I'm just gonna put it to the side. Let's also extend base.html. And we're also gonna wanna add in blog content over here because we wanna override it. Maybe we could also add the container div over here. And within it, we can have the page.title to show the title or to show the actual category we're on. And then we want to show all the posts that fall under this category, right? So to do this, we can create a for loop and loop through the children. All right, so how do we create an unordered list? And within it, we will start a for loops. So for post in self dot get children. Actually, let's add the end for here. And in between, let's add the list item we want for each. Okay, and anchor href. Let's set it to post dot URL, and here post dot title. Okay, I think that should work. Let's go to our Wagtail admin, click on travel and view live. Oh, look, it did. Nice. All right, let's see what happens if we add child page to it, another blog post. Okay, let's make the page title, let's say Rome. All right, so before moving forward, let's go through what we've done so far. So to create this, along with, getting access to the back end and having our pages ready for editing with a Richtext editor and everything, we have just defined our models by extending the Wagtails page model by subclassing it. And we just created the templates. And voila, we didn't add any code to views.py. We didn't write anything in admins.py. And we didn't even have to write anything in urls.py or create a urls.py file in our app directory. It was already taken care for us by Wagtail. Besides, there's also a base.html file already created for us that we can just extend, and it has a lot of things already taken care of. Also, not to mention that if you explore what else is created for you, you'll find that there is really so much that Wagtail just takes care of for you, which is another thing to love. Okay, all right, let's have both of our projects side by side. So over here, we have the Wagtail blog project, and over here we have the Django project, and they're both open to models.py, where we define our models for both projects. In the Wagtail project, we created the templates, and we literally didn't do anything else in our blog app, just created models and the templates. For the Django project, in order to get the same effect, we're going to need to add views, and also we're going to need to take care of the routing. So to take care of the routing, let's add urls.py. We're going to, populate it with code in a second. Also, in order to be able to access the backend and interact with our models, we are going to need to register our models in admin.py. That takes a second, to be fair, so let's do it. So let's first import the models we've defined. So from models, import, let's say, blog post, and what was the other one? Category. All right. And then admin.site.register, and we want to register blog post, and also we want to do the same for category, right? All right. And now in order to get access to admin, we need to, what am I doing? And now in order to get access to admin, let's create superuser. So pymanage.py, create superuser. Hit enter, leave it pico, email address, leave it empty, password, make it 1 letter, hit enter. Yes, again. Oh, how did I manage to make 1 letter not match? Okay, again. Yep. Yes. Okay. Superuser created successfully. All right, so let's run server pymanage.py run server, and let's run it on port 8001. Is it running? Is it running? Yes, it is. Okay, let's open it in our browser. And let's go to admin. Let's log in. Okay, we have the blog post and the categories. All right, let's try to add a category. And also, as you can see, category needs a verbose plural name. Actually, let's fix that, because that is not how categories should be spelt at all. Okay, so models.py. All right, so let's super quickly define class meta and set verbose name plural to categories. Okay, now let's go back and refresh. Yay, it got fixed. Nice. Okay, let's try to add category. Okay, we can add a category. Let's make it travel. Thanks for the suggestion, browser. Okay, we have a type error. What have I messed up? Let's see. Something returned. Oh, the string method. I made something wrong with the string method. Okay, yes. I forgot to type in return. I'm sorry about that. All right, now let's cross both fingers and refresh. And if I can operate a mouse with finger crossed. Let's try. Continue. Yay! We did it! Okay, so we've added the category travel. Yes. Okay, super cool. Now let's add a blog post. Let's make it Siberia again. Not with double R. Okay, and make the body bleh. And choose a category, travel, and save it. We have a type error again, because I probably made the same mistake with the string method. Let's fix it. So return self.title. Let's continue. Yay, it worked. Nice. All right, so next up, we would like to see the blog posts on our front end, right? And in order to do that, we gotta create some views. All right, so let's define our views. The first one, we could call it blog posts by category, request, and we wanna also pass in the category ID. And we also want to import get object or 404, right? So we can set category to get object or 404. We also need to import the models. So from models, import category and blog post. And here let's pass in category because that's the model we want to access. And and here, let's set ID to category ID. And then we want to get the posts that fall under this category. So blog post, objects, dot get, dot filter, right? Or, oh, it was dot filter and category. Let's set it to category. And then we want to return render request, and here we want to input the name of the template, which we haven't yet created. Maybe we could call it also blog post by category .html, and then we want to pass in context category, and then posts. All right, next up, let's quickly define the view for showing the blog post. Maybe you can call it blog post detail. And let's pass in request, and this time post ID. Okay, let's set blog post to get object or 404. And our model is blog post, and ID is gonna be post ID. And we return render request, and let's pass in the name of the template we have not yet created. Let's call it blogpost.html, and the context we want to pass to our template is going to be the blog post. Let's set it to just blog post. All right, and now let's go ahead and create the templates directory and just create our templates real quick, right? So we've named the first template blog post by category.html. So let's do that. And I copied some HTML boilerplate. I'm just gonna paste it here because I can't be bothered creating a base.html. Okay, now let's also create the other template, which we called blogpost.html. So new file, blogpost.html. And likewise, let's paste the HTML boilerplate. All right, so we are gonna wanna see the title of the category we're on. Let's open views.py to the side so we could look at the context we have passed to our template. So to get a hold of the category name, then let's add in the famous Django curly brackets and get the category name. So it's going to be category.name, right? Let's check in models.py. Yeah, it was name. Good. And let's also add it here, and then h1 element. And then we're gonna wanna list our posts, the ones under this category. So let's create a for loop and loop through them. First, let's create an unordered list, and for post in posts, let's add in and for. I like to add it before writing the logic in the for loop because sometimes I forget to add it and then I get an error and I feel sad. Okay, let's add list here, and inside it we want to add a link to the post to show also the name of the post, or rather the title of the post. So post.title, and the href should point to URL. Actually, let's make them single quotes. Blog post detail and post.id. Alrighty, so now in order for Django to route to our view, we need to set up the URLs, the URL patterns. In the urls.py that we've just created, let's import path. And let's also import our views, the views we've created now, the blog posts by category and blog post detail. And now let's set the URL patterns. So path category / int category underscore ID. And the view was blog posts by category, name blog posts underscore category. Okay, so that should do it. Okay. Also, since we are here, let's also set the URL pattern to our blog post. So once again, path, and let's make it post / int the post ID. Yeah, post ID, and the view is blog post detail. Let's make the name blog post detail. And now in order for Django to find these URL patterns, we gotta go to the urls.py in our project directory, and we need to import include so that we can include our app's URL patterns. Right, so let's add path, and we want the block to be at the root. So let's just keep it empty quotations like this. And we want to include our blog app URLs. All right, so now if we try to visit our site, we should be able to visit the categories. But actually, I've just realized that probably getting the category by ID is not the best idea, since we didn't create a view or a template for listing the categories and like redirecting to them. So maybe it would be actually better to just get it or filter by the category name, and also having the category name in the slug would look better too, right? So let's change that. So instead of category ID, let's make it category name. And let me take a look at models.py for a second. Yes, we called it name. Okay, let's go back to our views.py and make it name, set it to category name, right? And let's do the same for the blog post as well. Instead of ID, let's make it title, and here post title. Okay, and now let's go to the urls.py and change that too. So category name, and here post title. Let me check that everything is good. Let's restart our server and see if it works. Actually, let's visit it on port 8001 because we're running the Wagtail project on port 8000. So 8001. Okie dokie. So yes, there's category / not int, category name. Oh my god. Pico, wake up. Okay, so urls.py instead of int, it should be slug, right? And over here, also slug. Okie dokie. Right, let's refresh. Okay, good. /category /travel. Okay, looks like it's working, but there's an error in our template. Apparently, oh yeah. I typed in 2 of these %sign curly brackets thingies. So let me fix that. Okay, it's the blog post by category template, right? Yes, 2 of these. What the heck? Okay, right? Let's refresh. Yes, 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 yes. We did it. Cool. All right. And if we click on Siberia, nothing would show up because our template is empty. Let's try to click. Okay, it says no blog post matches the given query. We get 404. And this error is because we did not fix the URL pattern we've added in the template, in the category template. So let's fix it. So post dot title. Okay, let's go back and let's hard refresh and click on Siberia. Ta-da! It's empty. Okay, actually, let's change that. Let's make it not empty. So let's go to blogpost.html and just like we've done in the blog post by category, let's over here add our post title. So post.title. And then the body, let's add h1 post.title, and here add a paragraph element and make it post.body. All right, let's refresh. Why is it still empty? Let's go to views.py. Oh, because the context is not post, it's blog post. So let me fix that. It should be blog post.title, not post.title. Blog post.title. And then blog post.body. Okay, let's refresh. Ta-da! We have the title and the body. All right, so right now we have two projects running at the same time. One is running on 8001, that's the Django project. And the other is the Wagtail project, and it's running on port 8000. Obviously, they're not complete blog websites, right? But by doing this, I feel like we get the idea. And also, I feel like the video is gonna be longer than I initially planned. So I think I vote that we compare the code like we said that we're gonna do at the beginning of the video. So let's put both projects side by side in our IDE. Okay, so over here we have the Django blog code, right? And within it, we have added the models in the models.py. So how should we count the lines of code? I'm not actually sure. Should we count the import statements? Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's count. So let's say in the models.py we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So over here we have 13 lines in the Django models.py. So 13. And here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wagtail, we have 10 lines. Okay, so then let's go to admin.py. For Django, we have 3 lines of code because this line was already added for us by default, the import admin line. So far in Django, we have 16 lines of code, right? Yes, 16. And Wagtail remains at 10. All right. Views.py, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 16 plus 9, that is 25. So Django 25 of Wagtail remains at 10. Okay. And then urls.py. We didn't add anything in the Wagtail project. For Django, we have, let's say 3. So 28 lines of code about. And then we added here another line of code. So let's say 29 for Django. And for both projects, we have added the app to the installed apps in the settings.py, right? So maybe we can add one line to both. So Django, we've added 30 lines of code, and Wagtail, we only added 10 lines. However, I'd like you to consider the fact that also Wagtail comes with rich text already included. So in the back end of Wagtail, we have rich text for our blog posts. But if we want to do the same for Django, then we're going to need to configure, like we're going to need to actually install an external library and add it. There are many options for that, but that would be more lines of code we have to write. Also for the templates, if we compare templates, I didn't count them. Wagtail comes with boilerplate already added for you, so you can just extend base.html. For Django, you have to do that yourself, and a bunch of other things. But of course, Django alone comes with its own advantages, right? You know that like Wagtail has so many things you might not need, so the project itself might be too big for no reason, right? It might have a lot of overhead or whatever. So it might be way more efficient for you to just use Django. It depends. However, Wagtail is super awesome, right? Come on, it is awesome. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you have, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Bye!